everybody, my name is Tanya, and I threatened that there was another book haul coming, and today's the day I'm finally going to try and film them all, because there's going to have to be multiple installments to this. I've acquired a lot of books over the last couple of months. So some of the stuff from this haul goes back quite a long way. I've actually filmed a haul of part of this before, and I reviewed the footage recently. I think I filmed it at the end of July. I reviewed the footage recently and it was terrible. I'd since read half the books and didn't say anything at all useful about any of the other books, so I've scrapped that, so they're kind of throwing into the front of this one. So we're kind of talking about things I got in June through August sometime, I guess. I don't even know anymore. I've lost all track, and let's just dive into it. So first I'm going to run through the stuff that I have already read quickly because I've spoken about it elsewhere on my channel, so I will leave some links down below to videos where you can hear me talk about these ones in a little bit more depth. But some things that I've already read that I have read recently-ish are The Crimson Petal and the White by Michelle Faber, which I read back in July, I think, with a group of booktubers. Bonjour Tristesse by Francois Sagan, which I also read in July. Then a couple that I buddy read in August, so they are Uprooted by Naomi Novik, and as I said it before, this cover is stunning. The book I enjoyed, maybe didn't quite live up to cover, but I talked more about this in my August wrap up. And then the other one that I've already read and spoken about is A Little Strange by Sarah Waters, which again was another buddy read, and this was fantastic. It was great to read some more Sarah Waters. As I said, links to my July and August wrap ups where I talk a bit more about those books will be linked down below. Okay, so now onto the new stuff. Something that was everywhere on BookTube when it was released, and of course has been creating quite a large amount of controversy, and I still haven't read, but we'll get to eventually, and have purchased, is Ghost of a Watchwoman by Harper Lee, which of course is the kind of book that she originally wrote and then was asked to write To Kill a Mockingbird, or what turned out to be To Kill a Mockingbird instead. Lots of mixed thoughts about this one. Definitely a lot of controversy, but I still am interested to read it for myself and make my own judgments about it. Haven't got there. Hope I will get around to this at some point soon. Then I've got two books that I picked up at an event that I went to quite a while ago now, and they are The Strays by Emily Biddle and Foreign Soil by Maxine Beneba Clark. I went to a library event and heard both of these authors speak, and the topic they were talking about was kind of women's writing and whether women's writing differs from men's writing and the female experience as opposed to the men's experience, and kind of their own personal experiences with writing, which was all incredibly fascinating. The Strays was the winner of the Stella Prize, which is a major literary prize here in Australia, and Foreign Soil was shortlisted. The Stella Prize was created a few years ago now after the Miles Franklin, which is another major literary award here in Australia. The shortlist for that one for a few years had been made up solely of male authors, and so it was decided to establish the Stella Prize, which would be a women's only prize. The funny thing is, since establishing the Stella Prize, the Miles Franklin has been won by women, so go figure. The Strays is set in 1930s Australia, and Emily Biddle spoke about it as being very much focused on the story of a female friendship, which sounded wonderful, and I couldn't help but pick it up after the event, and am really looking forward to getting to it at some point in time. And of course, while I was there, I took the opportunity of getting this one signed. And Foreign Soil is a short story collection, and Maxine Beneba Clark is an Australian of Afro-Caribbean descent, so it was really interesting getting her perspective on writing, not just as a woman, but as a black woman as well. This one sounds like quite a powerful, gritty collection, and I might read a little bit of the back of this one because I think it captures it more eloquently than I could, especially since I haven't actually read this yet. And so it says, in Melbourne's western suburbs, in a dilapidated block of flats overhanging the rattling Footscray train lines, a young black mother is working on a collection of stories. The book is called Foreign Soil. Inside its covers, a desperate asylum seeker is pacing the hallways of Sydney's notorious Villawood Detention Centre. The 7-year-old Sudanese boy has found solace in a patchwork bike. An arranged black militant is on the warpath through rebel squats of 1960s Brixton. A Mississippi housewife decides to make the ultimate sacrifice to save her son from small-town ignorance. A young woman leaves rural Jamaica in search of her destiny, and a Sydney schoolgirl loses her way. The young mother keeps writing, the rejection letters keep arriving. And so I think this one sounds fantastic, and again, I'm looking forward to getting this one, hopefully sometime soon. And again, I'll get this one signed. And the next book I've got is another Australian one, and that is Leap by Mfanwa Jones. I will readily admit part of the reason that I picked this up is because of this cover. It is just stunning, and it definitely jumped at me off the shelf, but once I picked it up and actually read the blurb, it sounded fantastic too, so it may have come home with me. The back describes it as a beautiful urban fairy tale about human and animal nature and the transformative power of grief. Joe lives despite himself, driven by the need to atone for the neglect of a single tragic summer's night. He works at nothing jobs and, in his spare time, trains his body and mind to conquer the hostile environment that took his love and smashed up his future. So when a breathless girl turns up on the doorstep, why does he let her in? Isn't he done with love and hope? On the other side of the city, graphic designer Elsie is watching her marriage bleed out. She retreats to the only place that holds any meaning for her, the tiger enclosure at the zoo, where, for reasons she barely understands, she starts to sketch the beautiful killers. So I think this one sounds fantastic, and again the cover is gorgeous. We've got the tiger in the front, little tail on the spine, and the tail comes around the back as well. And I think it's just a very well designed book, and the storyline sounds amazing as well. Next up I have two books which the lovely Ange from Beyond the Pages was very kind to send to me. She had ordered these ones and received them slightly damaged, so she got replacements for them and still had these, so she kindly passed them on to me, and I'm really excited to get to both of them. The first one is The Heart of the Day by Elizabeth Bowen, and this one is set in London during the bombing raids of World War II. And the front blurb says, "Imagine a Graham Greene thriller projected through the sensibility of Virginia Woolf," which just sounds amazing. And I don't even know whether you can see the damage in the camera there, but there's only a little slash along the spine. It looks like a box has been opened with a knife and has just nicked one of the books, and so it's only just kind of surface damage there, but otherwise the book is in perfect condition, so thank you so much, Ange, for sending this to me. And then the second book she sent me is Love in a Cold Climate by Nancy Mitford. I've heard fantastic things about Nancy Mitford on Booktube, so I'm really intrigued to get to her. This one is actually the second in a series. I don't know how strictly it is a series, but this one is the follow-up to The Pursuit of Love, which I don't own, or at least I didn't own at the time that I received this, but it may be a spoiler for a future book haul that I also have to try and film today, but I'm including it with a latter portion of it. But the back describes this as wickedly funny and looks into the mysteries of sexual attraction, so... And again, the damage is pretty much just contained to a slash down the side, so there's a little bit lifting there, but otherwise the book itself is undamaged. So thank you again, Ange, for sending these ones to me. I am really looking forward to getting to them, and the best part about all this is they are both quite short books from the 1001 Books You Must Read Before You Die list, so when I'm getting towards the end of the year and I'm so far behind on my reading goals, these might come in handy. And next up, I've got my first books from a very popular collection that you'll have heard a lot about on Booktube, and that is some of the Persephone grade classics. I have owned Miss Pettigrew Lives for a Day in their popular editions, which have pictures on the cover. I've owned that one for quite a number of years, but these are my first grade Persephone classics, and I am really excited to get to them. I've read one of these already, and I've got buddy reads lined up for the next couple of months to read the other two, so I'm really pleased about that I've actually purchased them and I'm going to be reading them immediately. And I have to say, having read one of these, they are very well put together books. So the Grey Persephone classics are quite pricey, but the way they're constructed and how they feel to read is just really fantastic, really comfortable, which, you know, sounds stupid, but is important, especially with a bigger book. They sit open really nicely without damaging them and just look beautiful together. The first one I have, and the one that I have read, is Harriet by Elizabeth Jenkins. I read this one in the month of September, so I'll be talking about it soon in my September wrap-up, but this was absolutely fantastic. So I read this one with a few other booktubers, and I ordered this one specifically to participate in the buddy read. It was mentioned as a potential choice for a buddy read, and I thought it sounded fantastic, so I picked it up. And then, of course, because Persephone do the 3 for £30 deal, and you get a couple of pounds off each book, I decided I would go for that, which is how I ended up with 3 books. But anyway, so I purchased this for this, not really knowing all that much about it. I absolutely loved it, and I will be talking more about this one soon. And of course, as has to be shown for all Persephone books, the end papers in this one look like this. And this one is number 97 in their catalogue. Then next up I have The Hopkins Manuscript by R.C. Sheriff, and this one I heard about from Jen at Jen Campbell, and it sounded fantastic. This is one of the only science fiction books that Persephone puts out, and it is a story where the moon is going to crash into the earth, and I think that sounds fantastic, and I'm looking forward to finding out how that all plays out in the book. And the end papers for this one are gorgeous and bright, and I really love it, and this is number 57 on their catalogue. And then the third one I've got is The Blank Ball by Elizabeth Sensei Holding. And this is one that I hadn't heard of at all, but I was trawling through the Persephone site to pick a third book to get the 3 for £30 deal, and this one kind of jumped out at me as sounding interesting. The way the blurb of this one is expressed made me laugh. It's probably not really funny, but it made me laugh, so I was really intrigued to see the story that followed that one. I'm going to read it off my phone. The only problem with the Persephone books is they don't actually have any kind of blurb on them. But the blurb of this one: a suburban matron, harassed by wartime domestic problems, her husband is overseas, finds herself implicated in the murder of her young daughter's extremely unattractive beau. And I just really want to know what happens with that situation. And the end papers of this one look like this. And this is number 42 on the catalogue. So here are a number of books that I have acquired recently. I am filming in such a sporadic manner at the moment and am so far behind with either filming or editing what I filmed that I have given up making a, this is my certain month book haul. And like I said, I didn't want to have regular book hauls on this channel, but it's becoming a bit of a necessity. So I've given up with the months and I'm just numbering them now. So here's some books that I acquired recently. If you have any questions on any of them, or if you've read any of these and think they're fantastic and think I should read them sooner rather than later, do let me know. As always, thank you all for watching and I will see you next time. Bye!